done, destroy it. Destroy them all.
Apples of Eden.
Fine. Here it is. Wait! No!
Let's cut right to the chase. What do the apple do? As of now, we know of about 11 Apples of Eden in the series, some being lost to history. These devices are primarily used for the control of people's minds, as the Isu created humans to do their dirty work, building in a piece of our brains to be susceptible to cranial possession, apparition conjuration, tangible holograms, and other big words, was highly useful to their cause. They have been known to contain massive amounts of information on technology, leading to much plot. Things obviously took a turn when a couple of humans and Isu caught the love bug, resulting in the half-breeds of Adam and Eve, who eventually stole an orb, causing the Great Human-Isu War. Here we see the origins of the name Apple, and things only got more interesting from there. Notable Apple activities include the first Apple, used vaguely by Napoleon to gain control over France, and later used to disguise the assassination of JFK. Apple number 2, wielded by our character Bayek in Origins to pummel a dude, held by our mentor character in the first Assassin's Creed.
But this, illusions, all of them!
Used peacefully by Gandhi in his protests, and again, used in collaboration with the JFK incident. The third apple was held by Washington until it gave him nightmarish visions. After being dropped into the sea by our character Connor in AC3, it was retrieved and given to President John F. Kennedy. You know where this is going. It was later held by the 36th president in the space race. Apple IV was deciphered by Tesla to help him develop electricity, though later shipped to Germany's fascist leader to commit all sorts of horrors. Eventually it fell into the hands of Abstergo and was destroyed by assassin efforts. Apple number 5 was retrieved from the moon, believe it or not, by the previously mentioned Apple III. No, it didn't originate from the moon. The Isu just accidentally flung it there one time, and now NASA has it, apparently.
We sent a dozen of them skyward, but there was no way to maintain control.
Apple number 6 was passed around during the Constantinople times and used to open the Vatican vault by our homie Ezio. It was stolen multiple times, and though briefly held by Da Vinci to create his machines, it remains in assassin's custody after Desmond not so accidentally offed Lucy Stillman over it. Apple 7 was studied by British Templars and quickly destroyed by player character Evie. Now, we're going to go off the books because they stopped numbering them. Stick with me.
It should have ended then and there. But we built you in our own image. We built you to survive.
Aguilar's apple, depicted in the 2016 film, was held by Christopher Columbus for a time until it was recovered by the Templars, who lost possession of it to the assassin, Michael Fassbender. Just kidding. Akhenaten's apple, held by multiple pharaohs to conjure apparitions, was lost to the desert and has not been found. The gull's apple was held in Norway until acquired by a thrall in the comics and was lost to the mountains. And finally, most recently, the Isle of Skye apple of Scotland caused nightmares and madness to the people on the island. It was collected by the tag team efforts of Eivor and Cassandra, who presumably destroyed it. Boom! 15 years of lore!
All that trouble for this? You keep it.
Shrouds of Eden.
I am the only king here!
Alright, I promise the following chapters won't be as extensive, as no other artifact has been given that much development. As a matter of fact, the Staves of Eden are primarily for increasing the power of the apples once combined, though they do have benefits for the wielders themselves. Yes, conjuring illusions, mind control, and invisibility can also be expected from these things, except they're a little easier to swing as a weapon. The papal staff was first used by St. Peter to become the first pope and was handed down by the Romans until Ezio lost it in the Vatican vault. The imperial scepter was held by Russian czars until acquired by Rasputin. It would be almost entirely destroyed by the efforts of Nikola Tesla until a single shard was collected by the assassins. Alexander's staff lent its abilities to a little someone called Alexander the Great, who used its powers to found his ancient empire, and was later delivered to the Roman Templars.
Into the vault. A blue fire seemed to emerge. I fled to no avail. The entire village.
The shattered Staff of Eden was said to be used in the Spanish Inquisition, later destroyed by the Brotherhood. Finally, the Staff of Hermes, which we all know and love, granted a few unique powers such as immortality, healing factors, and boosts to physical strength. This thing has been at the forefront of the last 2 games, which has allowed our current protagonist, Layla Hansen, to meet several figures from history in the flesh. Pretty dope.
Promise me one thing.
Anything.
When you are done, destroy it. Destroy them all.
Rings of Eden.
This is what Captain Kidd suffered over for so long. Astonishing.
With significantly fewer appearances, we have the rings, which protect the wearer from harm with electromagnetic fields. The most famous tale regarding them involves the pirate William Kidd, who is said to have used their power to reflect musket balls. Pretty standard sci-fi force field stuff, but worth mentioning. As far as other protective technologies, there have been very few additions of Isu armor to the series, which all grant the player the expected defense buffs. But there hasn't been much lore delving into the origins of the Aegis, the Fallen Heroes, or the Thor's armor, besides that, yeah, they wore it.
You don't suppose they've got another suit back there, do you? That one looks a bit tight for me.
And you would look a right tit in it.
Shrouds of Eden.
Time is a wonderful thing, Miss Fry. It heals all wounds.
These high-tech cloths contain nanotechnology, which the Isu used to heal themselves from even the fatalist of wounds. Built by an Isu named Consus, who you may know better as Prometheus from the Greek myth in which he gave fire to the humans in betrayal of his fellow gods. Yes, in AC lore, he was a human sympathizer who imbued the Shrouds with his own consciousness, giving him the ability to converse and possess those who used the cloth. Popping up several times in history, though all being semi-recently destroyed, were at least 3 shrouds. One used by Jesus himself to perform miracles, another dubbed the Golden Fleece in the Tale of Jason, and at least another found and hidden by fan favorite Edward Kenway. Swords of Eden. As the name implies, these weapons were forged by the Isu, Hephaestus, originally wielded against other powerful Isu in an attempt to end wars between them. Obviously, he did a bit too good of a job, and the body count rose tremendously. After being lost to time, these weapons would find themselves in the hands of influential humans. Let's recap them, shall we? The first Sword of Eden, capable of an inspiration glamour, shooting energy blasts, and teleportation, belonged to Joan of Arc. It was later involved in the death of the cutest Templar in the series, Elise, and is currently in Abstergo possession. The second blade bears the same powers of the first, and was held by Genghis Khan. We know how that went. There was Excalibur, held by King Arthur until retrieved by the Viking Eivor years later. The Harp of Perseus was used to slay Medusa, collected by us and Cassandra in Odyssey. Finally, there's the Sword of, Damocles, held by the Cult of Cosmos and wielded by the grandchildren of Leonidas. All this to say, I'm sure further legendary weapons will be showing up in future games soon. Isu Sidearms. Now, there isn't too much to explain about these powerful beings wanting their own unique sidearms, but we'll touch on it briefly since many can be collected by the player character. Poseidon's trident is said to control the seas. Following in line with this series, I assume it's due to some science mumbo-jumbo, maybe magnets? I'm not a scientist. The Gibolg, held by the Irish hero, Cu Chulainn, is said to be made from the bones of a sea monster. The Hammer of Hephaestus, used by the Isu to forge, was later used by a Cyclops. Speaking of, the Cyclops bludgeon is apparently deadly to anything that isn't mortal. Who could forget Mjolnir, Thor's trusty hammer, which projects electricity? There's the Minotaur's, Labris, acquired by the Beast after the Olympos project, which actually was just the Isu building a bunch of big monsters to scare the humans.
Very cool, guys.
The Spear of Leonidas, which granted godlike power, including the ability to imbue arrows with fire, and like 50 other powers. Was harnessed powerfully by Leonidas due to his direct lineage to the Isu, and not to forget the Nodin's Arc, named after the Celtic being Noted. If you're looking for any other minor collectible, be sure to check out assassinscreed.fandom.com for, there's like a knife of Eden, the dagger of Eden. Yeah, that's.
You are more than welcome to find out.
Mythical Miscellaneous.
Reality is a mathematical model which gets solved over and over again by the observer.
To bring it home, we have a couple of fascinating devices that don't fit snugly into another category, such as the Fountain of Youth. It was built in Florida by the Isu for an unknown reason, and never found in game so far. I'm gonna wager a guess that since the Isu still aged, this was merely a vanity device that made their skin look good. Sound about right? The Crystal Skull, not the one from Indiana Jones, was basically an Isu cell phone, allowing the user to send communications and look through the eyes of the skull. I'm guessing every Isu teen had one of these in their pocket. There's also the Crystal Ball, which, most overpoweredly, can show the users the flow of time and when certain events may happen.
It is known as the Nexus. From here, probabilities are calculated so that the proper path may be chosen.
The Ankh, which would temporarily resurrect the dead, was again pretty overpowered, so I can see why she hasn't gotten a lot of use. Nor would the Kor Ainur, which had the impressive ability to fuse other objects together. Yeah, too powerful to the comics for you. Freya's medallion acts as an advanced key, alongside the Grand Temple key, the St. Denis key, etc. It just goes to show you can't beat an old-fashioned hunk of metal to open a door.
When did this become my job?
If I pulled all the levers, then what would be left for you?
Nothing.
The Patience charm would give the user spidey sense, for some unexplained reason.
It lets me see. Into minds? No. Into all things. Only for a few seconds anyway.
The Pyramid, which operates on a similar frequency to the Crystal Ball, it could show potential futures. And finally, the Precursor Box is capable of siphoning power from every previously mentioned artifact. It is a masterpiece of memories which can produce holograms to see the past or imprint the experience of others onto the user's mind. For these reasons, despite being kept in a simple wooden box, many of Assassin's Creed heroes and villains have given their lives over this thing, because at the end of the day, knowledge is power.
You are leaving? No mere number can repair the world. Come, my friend. It is not intended for us.
So there we have it, loyal viewer. Your brains have been updated to the latest piece of Eden lore drop for every important MacGuffin. What did you think? What surprised you? Was it one of the apples being on the moon? That was pretty silly. Let me know in the comments, and once again, I've been Josh Chiptroid, and game on.